The last time we saw David Haller, he was zapped up into a mysterious floating orb and flew away. So what the hell happened to David? Where will season 2 pick up? Will it get even weirder? And will there be more dancing? The answer is yes, there is a lot more dancing. I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about the upcoming season of Legion, but first click that subscribe button because we'll be sharing a new video each week as we break down all of season 2. Also on the channel right now, learn everything you can about the Black Order, aka the Children of Thanos, who will be playing a major role in Avengers Infinity War. First things first, guys, season 2 of Legion premieres Tuesday, April 3rd at 10 p.m. If you haven't watched season 1, well, you better start binge watching now. Don't worry, it's only 8 episodes, and you can find it on FX's app as well as Hulu. This season, the show is gonna expand 2 more episodes to a total of 10. So after the first 8 chapters of Legion's story, season 2 picks up with chapter 9, which takes place a year after the events of the first season. But for David, he thinks only 1 day has passed. He doesn't remember much of what happened save for a few weird details.
I remembered trees and dancing. We'll talk later. Okay.
While David is left confused of his orb-sponsored vacation, the rest of his Summerland friends have moved on in pursuit of Amahl Farouk, aka the Shadow King. In doing so, they made unlikely allies by teaming up with the mutant-hunting Clark and government-run Division 3. From what we gathered in the previews, there's no love lost between Sid and David, though they understandably need some time to rebuild that relationship. Remember, she hasn't seen him in a year. Patanomy is back, as is our favorite pair of Carries. Dr. Melanie Bird is again coping with the loss of her husband, who's now possessed by the Shadow King. The first season of Legion dealt heavily with mental illness, what's normal and not normal, and perceptions of reality. According to showrunner Noah Hawley, season 2 will expand upon those themes, and more specifically the idea of delusion.
What is a delusion? How does a delusion take hold? How does it thrive? What does it take for a group of people to go mad?
Judging by a couple of shots in the promos, it sure looks like Farouk will slowly be infecting each member of Team Summerland, and possibly turning our good guys bad. Speaking of bad guys, the last time we saw the Shadow King, he did a whole lot of body swapping until ultimately landing in control of Oliver Bird.
Where should we look first?
Someplace warm.
They seem to have found that place, and also a weird coffin that contains Farouk's original form. Not sure how that works. Homeland's Naveed Negabon will portray Farouk, but we'll also see the Shadow King in the form of Oliver, the frightening devil with the yellow eyes, as well as Aubrey Plaza's Lenny, who was the MVP of the first season.
And I'm feeling good.
So basically, Farouk takes a nice little vacation by the pool, and then he'll focus his efforts on attaining infinite and world-ending power. And how he'll do that definitely involves David. It's very clear that he's not giving up on his plan to use David's powers against himself and the world around him.
She lives in the future you're going to destroy. And when you do, she will cease to exist.
Now, for those interested in Amahl Farouk and the Shadow King's comic book history, make sure you check out the video that we did last week on GameSpot Universe. And don't worry, the FX show doesn't pull all specifics from the comics, so you should be safe from any major spoilers. And finally, the most important question for season 2. No, not the dancing, there'll be a ton of that. Will Professor X ever show up? In the first season, we only saw him on the chalkboard and a quick shot of his wheelchair. He wasn't even name-checked. Coincidentally, Dan Stevens and Patrick Stewart appeared on the Late Late Show with James Corden last year, and Stevens asked Stewart to play his iconic role on the FX show.
So essentially, I've got a job offer.
This is massive. Are you in?
For Patrick?
Are you in?
Absolutely, 100%.
Following that interview in July, Holly talked to E.T. and told them that he wanted to include David's very famous father at some point in the story, but he was being coy about when and if we'll ever see it.
Lenny knew him, then he was probably a mutant like me. Psychic, I'm guessing, and this thing, the monster, was his enemy.
That's pretty much all we know about season 2 until the premiere next week. Do you guys think Professor X will show up sometime this season? Let me know in the comments below and make sure you're subscribed because we're gonna break down every single episode of Legion Season 2 starting next week. We'll see you then.